I'm your host, Davita Shinsky, and you're listening to Live Without Limits Dreams Come True with the Right Mindset. Today's presentation is 6 ways that you can build and maintain trust in a relationship. Love cannot live where there is no trust, said Edith Hamilton. The importance of trust in all types of relationships cannot be overemphasized. Yet most of us have been betrayed by the people that we trusted at least once in our lives. As a result, we tend to dwell on how we can effectively handle relationships once trust has been broken. Oftentimes, we act as though the moment we meet someone, we start to trust them. We forget that trust is built, and if we do some reflection, we might realize that we don't even know how to build trust. And this presentation explores some of the fundamentals which are essential in building and maintaining trust in a relationship. So here are the term relationship. It's not referring to a romantic relationship. It is used as an umbrella term for different types of and all types of relationships, including romantic ones, friendships, parent child relationships. Keep this in mind when you come across the terms relationships and partner. I hope that this presentation helps you to develop trust in your new relationships and in those where trust has been broken. So, the 6 strategies to build and maintain trust in relationships. Talk about it. Sometimes we have moments where we feel like we are unable to trust our partners. It could be because they are coming home late, spending so much time on the phone, or just our gut feeling. If you ignore that feeling, it continues building and you resent your partner more every day. Rather, open up and talk about these concerns. Let them know how their behavior is affecting you and give them a platform to explain themselves. Be honest in relationship to the above points. Having a conversation with your partner is useless if both of you are not honest when having such an important or any conversation. There is a need for both of you to be honest with both how you feel and the facts of the events. When you know that your partner is always honest, it is easier to believe everything they tell you, and those feelings of mistrust can be effectively dealt with. Be non judgmental. If you expect your partner to be honest, you need to create an environment where they can be honest without being judged. Have an open mind and be ready to accept anything and everything that your partner tells you. Sometimes it might not be what you want to hear, but it will be the truth that you have to accept. Have firm boundaries, and this is something I've talked about before. It is essential for both parties to set and communicate their boundaries. Both people also have to actively work towards respecting those boundaries. If your partner needs some alone time every Sunday afternoon, let them have that. and do not overstep that boundary. Boundaries allow everyone involved to be comfortable in the relationship, knowing that their partner recognizes and respects the boundaries that they have in place. Keep your promises. If promises are constantly broken, it is difficult to build and maintain trust. Imagine if, when you were young, your mom kept telling you that you will go to Disneyland the next month and never actually taking you there. The first few times you get excited because you trust her. But if she continues not keeping the promise, you start hurting and believing her, even if she tells you that she will bring ice cream from the store. You would not necessarily believe her. The same is also applicable to relationships. If you constantly fail to live up to your word, you give your partner a reason to trust you, or rather to not trust you. This will make it hard for them to believe that you, even when you say the truth. So take responsibility. Sometimes we mess up. Once we have done so, we need to be able to acknowledge and take ownership of our mistakes and then ask for our partner's forgiveness. Many of us find this difficult to do, and we are quick to point out the mistakes, or rather, to point fingers at people or circumstances that drove us to make the mistakes. We never acknowledge that we were wrong or try to convince our partners that if circumstances had been different, we wouldn't have made the mistakes that we made. What if I have trust issues? Depending on how we were raised, we all have different attachment styles, which influence our ability to trust others. Some people have trust issues, which is defined as difficulties in trusting others. Sadly, we can't change the past, but we can change the future. The first step would be for you to understand why you have these issues and then work toward trusting yourself. This will make it easier for you to trust others. Being vulnerable can be scary, but it is essential when building and maintaining trust in relationships. Sometimes we have to put our defense mechanisms aside and rationally deal with conflicts and concerns as they arise. Trust is an implacable element in relationships that cannot be compromised. Both parties have to effectively work towards ensuring that there is trust in relationships. Now, I can tell you this as a fact that in my family, there was no trust. That my mother would always tell me that she would do something if I did whatever she wanted me to do, but she had no follow through because she never intended to do what she promised. And I learned over the years to not trust her. And I would always tell her, just remember what you give because that's what you get back. And that is so true. And it's something you have to be thinking about. If you want people to trust you and do for you, then you have to follow through with whatever you tell them you plan to do.